Igbo socio-cultural group Ohaneze Ndigbo has announced that no Igbo man will contest for the presidency in 2027 against the incumbent President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The group says that the possibility of the Southeast producing the president of Nigeria can only be achieved in 2035, not 2027. In a statement signed by the Deputy President General of the Ohaneze Ndigbo faction, Okechukwu Isiguzoro, and the national spokesman, Thompson Ohia, they revealed that the decision was taken at a crucial meeting with Southeast political leaders, in which they resolved that no Igbo man will contest presidency in 2027, signaling the rejection of a one-term bid. They insist that the most practicable political vehicle for the pursuit of the Igbo presidency lies within the All Progressives Congress in 2035 if the zoning formula is altered, saying that among notable Igbo sons, the Minister of Works, Senator David Umahi, stands out as the most outstanding candidate.
No Igbo man will contest presidency against Tinubu. It's another propaganda out there, and I'll prove it to you. Now, do not forget that I've told you that 2027 general election is going to be a very dicey one. And that's why there are so many propaganda out there. Do not forget that they have said with what is happening in Labour Party, that Peter Obi is not going to be allowed the presidential ticket to run as a president under Labour Party. Now, when Peter Obi attended ADC meeting, 2 seconds, bay, everywhere scattered, they came up with another one. They were saying that Peter Obi is just confusing all his followers, that nobody knows which political party he's in, whether it's in ADC, Labour Party, PDP, or the others. Now, like that one is not flying. 2 seconds, they said even if he's going to join the ADC, that they will not give him ticket. No party is going to give him any presidential ticket to run. That what the ADC is going to do to him is to draw him closer. Then during the primaries, Atiku will now throw him out and make him partyless. And that one is not enough. Now they are coming out with this one, that no Igbo man will run as a presidency against Tinubu by Ohaneze Ndigbo, as if it is what the law said. Nevertheless, expect more stronger propaganda as we draw closer to 2027 election year. Now, I am going to allow you to listen to shocking reaction from Rufai Oseni concerning this particular news. And other news on the morning show in Arise News. But as you are listening to them, make sure you are sharing your thought with me on the comment section. Share the video. And after that, I'll be back. Let's go there.
Fine. Other stories for us this morning. A lot of stories to get through. Let's see how we can dissect.
Okay, so that I don't forget, because we have about 6 stories. But let me first start with Ohaneze Ndigbo. Please, any Igbo man that wants to run for presidency, go ahead and run. Do not listen to Ohaneze Ndigbo. It is clear, it is certain that socio-political groups are fast losing their relevance. We had our own tiff between factions of Afenifere on who to endorse in the last elections. Till today, that tiff is still on, although some of them say they are trying to reconcile. Socio-political groups cannot hold the ace of anybody's ambition. The analogy that the surest path to presidency will be waiting till 2035 is their own agenda. And you have seen clearly, they put somebody, mention the name in their own agenda, which is Umahi. So that's the Ohaneze Ndigbo's Umahi's agenda. It's different from the free rights you have as enshrined in the Constitution. No socio-political group can tell you your faith. That's just it. But I'm not surprised. A women's wing of Ohaneze, I think, tilted towards Atiku in the last election. Professor George Obi, also when he was alive then, tilted towards Obi. So the truth is, no socio-political group, they are just like another pressure group. And what pressure groups do is, they come out of their pressure cooker and talk. It doesn't mean it's a generality. I just have to set that straight.
Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar yesterday vowed that despite efforts by the ruling All Progressives Congress to ridicule and play down the current momentum in the African Democratic Congress ADC, the coalition will shock the world in the 2027 presidential election. Atiku also laid to rest insinuations that he might not contest the presidential poll 2 years from now, stressing that he will run for the nation's top job in the next election cycle. Atiku, until recently a prominent figure in the People's Democratic Party, has often sought broad coalitions to strengthen his presidential bids. In that light, the ADC, a hitherto relatively smaller party, has brought together some heavyweight politicians, positioning itself as a third force alternative outside the dominance of the APC and PDP. However, apart from Atiku, ex-Anambra Governor Peter Obi and former Rivers Governor Rotimi Amechi have made public their intentions to jostle for the ADC's presidential ticket as a part of a coalition of opposition figures seeking to challenge President Bola Tinubu at the polls in 2027. While the former vice president has positioned himself as the most experienced hand, Obi, the 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, has insisted he will not play a secondary role to anyone. Also, Amechi, a former Minister of Transportation, has hinted on plans to throw his hat into the ring. Atiku's statement is also coming as the presidency has often seized every opportunity to ridicule the ADC, claiming that the coalition only exists on paper and portraying it as inconsequential as well as lacking real electoral weight.
About Atiku Abubakar, yes, he has a right to run. Everybody will compete effectively in the field and we'll see who will emerge. Because there have been indications that he would not run, he should not run. I'm not going to stop anybody's right to run. But I'm also going to say some things this morning. Number one, we have to say it the way it is. If you have candidates in this coalition that can't come together because of their ambition, definitely it will fracture the coalition in such a way that it will make it an easier ticket for President Tinubu. So while all of them are jostling to have capacity, in the emergence of a particular candidate, it is in their best interest that they work together. If they don't work together, they make it easier. And that's just it. It shows from history, it's better to have a coalition of forces to fight against an incumbent. It's not today we've been doing it. In 1999, we did the same. Olufalaye and Marsh in Kafi, NPP, and the Alliance for Democracy had to come together to fight the march of Olusegun Obasanjo. The APC also reprised that with a coalition of APGA and other political parties and even some people out of the PDP coming together to be able to fight incumbent President Goodluck Jonathan then in 2015. It's better off that way because you have a better footing and you have a coalition of forces to pretty much do that. But in the case where there's an emergence of a candidate from the coalition and there's a division, it makes it easier for President Tinubu. And trust me, President Tinubu will not sit down and allow you come together. He doesn't even want it in the first place because he's a politician and he also wants to win. That's just my beat about that.
In other news, Nigeria's Federation account received a major inflow of 1.49 trillion naira in the first half of 2025 from arrears reconciled and paid by the country's revenue-generating agencies. Fresh data from the Federation Accounts Allocation Committee, FAC, has shown. A report by the FAC Post-Mortem Subcommittee, which reviews remittances from key agencies, indicated that the cumulative inflows into the Federation accounts between January and June 2025 came from reconciled outstanding arrears previously owed by key agencies. This included the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, the Federal Inland Revenue Service, and other statutory bodies.
NUPRC, NMPC, FAC allocation, and FIRS putting more money into the collective pot. Well, it is good news if that is true. It is good news if it is indeed true that the federal government has been able to collect 1.49 trillion in terms of arrears owed by all these agencies, NUPRC, NMPC, FIRS, and others. Now, the main issue here is about federal government revenue. What they have collected will boost revenue. It means that there will be more money, more revenue at the federal, state, and local council levels. And we hope, our hope is that that money collected as distributable pool will be used for the purpose of development, and the effect will be felt by the people. But what it says, in my view, is also about the performance of the Buhari administration. Under the Buhari administration, everybody was just doing what they liked. They were all looking for ways to hide money, to steal money. So what the Tinubu administration is doing is about transparency and accountability. And I've seen a commentary saying that, in fact, we have collected back 1.49 trillion since January, but that there's still more money hidden within the system. And that was part of the error of the incompetence of the Buhari administration, where, government enterprises, departments of states, revenue-generating agencies resorted to self-help. So to the extent that the Tinubu administration is trying to correct that, I think it's a very good development. However, I hope that special attention will be paid to transaction costs, because many of these agencies and departments of government, they also have what they call transaction costs. So if you collect all of this from them and they have remitted, I hope the budgetary allocations to those departments and government enterprises will be retained, so that we will not have excuses in terms of performance. Now, the topics are many, I don't know. But okay, let me deal with the
AGC and
Atiku Abubakar topic. Now, Professor Olateju was the name of the gentleman who represented the ADC at the defection of APC PDP chieftains in Lagos. Over 5,000 of them were said to have defected over the weekend, received by Rauf Aregbesola comrade, diffusing, potting into the fold of the ADC. Now, on that occasion, there were principal people, Ashurubi, Mr. Adams, Mr. Tunji Shele, Captain Tunji Shele, all of them saying they have left the PDP, they are moving into the ADC. Now, Olateju, speaking at that occasion, representing Atiku Abubakar, then said, well, Atiku Abubakar is not desperate, it's not as if he wants to be president at all costs, but there has now been a rebuttal. Atiku Abubakar, speaking from his other country, Dubai, United Arab Emirates, is on record as having said no. In fact, in 2027, ADC will shock the world, because he is determined to take power from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and that he will run. Nobody should go and say that he will not run. And that Professor Olateju saying he is not desperate, he will not run at all costs. Atiku more or less is saying he will run at all costs. So you see, there is some kind of, chemistry, mathematics about this 2027. And we have not seen the end of it. It's an evolving story. It's a developing story. After all, over the weekend, President Obasanjo was quoted by Leadership newspaper as preparing to publish a book very soon, Nigeria, Past and Present, in which he said, according to Leadership, I'm not the one saying so, Leadership says that President Obasanjo says that President Buhari is the most incompetent person that ever showed up in the presidency of Nigeria, and that President Tinubu is following very closely. So in other words, in that book, President Obasanjo is going to write off President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So all of these things will affect the calculations, as we move towards 2027. And there's also the Jonathan question. In Kano, on Sunday, I think it was yesterday, one Dr. Kiari, leading a group, said that, in fact, bring back our good luck. That this bad luck of poverty and debt servicing is too much. They want their bad luck back. So it's a very... They want their good luck back. So it's a very fluid situation as we look at this developing story. So Atiku saying he wants to come back. Well, Dr. Kiari of the Bring Back Our Good Luck group in Kano, that met at the Aminu Kano Center yesterday, said that Atiku Abubakar and every other person, Peter Obi, Kwankwanso, they should all go and sempe. That's not an English word. They should all just give up and allow President Jonathan to lead, the struggle against Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But what I don't understand is this construction of Nigerian politics in personal terms, in these Manichaean terms. It didn't help us previously. I don't see how it will help us this time.
All right, let me start with the ADC story, and former Vice President Atiku Abubakar now confirming that he will throw his hat in the ring. So perish any thoughts or doubts that he would not perhaps be vying for the ticket of the ADC, newly formed coalition of the ADC. He said he will do so. Also, he's also mentioned that the ADC will shock the world in 2027, and they are building a very powerful coalition. And that's, fair enough statement. In fact, they want to position themselves as the third force in the 2027 elections, taking the position of the Labour Party, which acted in that role in the 2023 elections. To what extent would they succeed in this their quest for taking on the #1 seat in Nigeria? Well, a few things I've just put under the obstacles, the many obstacles of the ADC. I am of the firm belief that for a vibrant democracy, we need opposition parties that would be thriving and can really give the incumbent a run for their money in order to avoid complacency. And so, as much as possible, let us encourage more parties to emerge, and if possible, if anyone is willing to take on the current president, by so being, let it be so. But the most important thing is that at the end of the day, the people get to decide amongst the many candidates presented before them who they want to lead them come 2027. The first obstacle for the ADC, which is very clear, very obvious, is the battle for the ticket in itself. Who will emerge as a presidential flag bearer of the ADC? I say that because we saw what happened with the PDP in the last election. And this fight, internal wrangling for what the zoning formula, who emerged as a presidential candidate bearer, cost them perhaps the elections in the last cycle. And we saw how the internal fightings have not just weakened the PDP, but almost disseminating the party or decimating the party completely as we speak. Is ADC, as a young infant party, going to face the same challenge? Because we have different camps coming together to form a party. We have those who are in Camp Atiku, we have those who are in Camp Obi, we have those who are in Camp Amechi, and other camps that might emerge in the nearest future. Now, if one person then emerges as a presidential flag bearer of the party, would the other power heavyweights be willing to throw their weight behind this one candidate to have a chance at the polls in 2027? This is a big question for them to answer. That's obstacle number one. Obstacle number two, it's a race against time, if we're being honest. The incumbent party, aside from having the advantage of the incumbency factor, has also been working tirelessly almost immediately as soon as it got into power, into office. And so they have been, all the groundwork, mobilization, network, they've been doing all this. So the ADC, like I mentioned, is in its infancy. And already we are hearing stories coming out from it. In fact, someone described them as a press releasing party. That's not strong enough if they are going to battle the APC come 2027. That's one of the obstacles. So some of the things that they must go to the drawing board, which I'm sure perhaps they're already aware of, or to highlight it again, if they are going to shock the world indeed in 2027, these are some of the things that was put into play. Something else, that another big obstacle for them is INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission. We saw what's happened in terms of confidence in INEC's ability to run a free and fair election. And so let's assume that presidential party ticket has been gotten, they've been able to get their acts together, they are united, they come with one voice. When it comes to the polls, may INEC not happen to them in the way that we have seen in the previous cycles of election. What Nigerians have pushed for again and again is even more electoral reform to ensure that our Electoral Act of 2022 is stronger in order to enable Nigerians to have more confidence in the process of election come 2027. Because no matter how strong a party is, as we saw in 2023, if INEC is not able to assure Nigerians of a free and fair election, it would be an obstacle not just to the ADC, but all other parties who are in opposition. And so we're hoping that the independence, the I in INEC, could truly be I come 2027. Another opposition, of course, and I'll tie this in with the story from the NBA General Conference in Enugu taking place currently, which is the judiciary. Oftentimes they say that during election cycles, the judiciary is on trial. We've seen what's happened in previous elections where, by some magic, as it were, a candidate who had no bearing close to the winning line then emerges as winner. Or we see cases thrown out on grounds of technicalities. Therefore, after passing the hurdle of INEC, the judiciary is supposed to come in to step in where there are issues around contests for the viability of an election. If the judiciary, as what the call as made by the Sultan of Sokoto, which I applaud, I think it's time for even royal fathers, traditional leaders to begin to speak up about the state of our nation and the state of our judiciary. Then they also have that obstacle on their hands. All eyes on the judiciary, as we saw in 2023.
You get the point. Now, what do you think? Do you think that Ohaneze Ndigbo has the right to stop any Igbo politicians from contesting the 2027 election? In fact, share your thought with me on the comment section. And of course, you know the vibe. Click on that subscribe button, follow, and share for more updates. Because like this, we move.